the advertising that we do, or that a lot of other law firms that I'm sure people are aware of.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that is more than just, trying to make money or chase ambulances is just letting people know that we're here to help, because we can't call them specifically. We can't solicit a case.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just assumed that was,
Now,
that was how you could probably get some business. So it's good to know. And it does make sense that you would advertise, because if people don't know that you're, you know what I'm saying?
And the flip side of that is insurance companies can call you. And so if you're in an accident today, the insurance company for the other person can call you, record your conversation, and try to get you to say things that are bad for their case.
What?
Yeah. Where they're allowed to do that, we're not. And we're not allowed to solicit business, which...
What's up, Camden County? You are catching episode 81 of the Get In Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Allison Shores from the Camden County Chamber of Commerce. This Get In Your Business podcast is made possible by our chairman circle sponsors, Georgia's Own Credit Union, Lockheed, Comcast, Georgia Power Company, Sparklight, Plug Power, St. Mary's DDA, TDS Telecom, and Ameris Bank. Thank you to all of our sponsors. All right, guys, I have somebody very special in the studio, and I cannot wait for y'all to get to know him. Please welcome Patrick from Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan. Thank you, Patrick, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so all right, so before we get into all things personal injury and what you do and all the things, let's talk about Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan, because it hasn't always been Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Correct.
Okay. So give me a little bit of the history here.
Well, before I came, I came to the area in 2017.
Okay. Me too.
At that time, it was Barnes and Cohen. And actually, a lot of people joke with me, because people in the community, they've been here for 30 years. And they're in Jacksonville as well. And a lot of the people that have been here a long time know it as Barnes and Cohen.
Barnes and Cohen. Okay.
Yeah. Chuck Barnes, his brother Bob, was with the firm for a long time. And a lot of people joke, Chuck does a lot of commercials and has this booming voice. And so his commercials used to be Barnes and Cohen. And so a lot of the people in the community will joke about that.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so it was Barnes and Cohen for a long time after Bob Barnes left. And when I came down here in 2017, Barnes and Cohen was looking for a lawyer to handle primarily Georgia law. And because it's different, Florida and Georgia law is different, and they're from Jacksonville. And so when I came here in 2017, I started working, here in the community, and ultimately, I think it was a couple of years ago that it became Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
I love this.
Yeah, so
I love it. All right. So now we're Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan. And you are here working in our community full time. And I just think that is so awesome. I know that there's a little bit of misconception or stigma around personal injury lawyers. Because like the one thing I know is like the ambulance chasers, and I think whenever somebody needs a lawyer in their life, it's not a great time.
Right.
So I just want to talk about some of like the misconceptions that people have, because I want people to know like what y'all are actually here for. It's not to chase ambulances. That's not what's I'm sure some people do that and that's how they got the name, but that's not what's happening here. And I just want you to talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, sure. And I appreciate that. People joke with me about that all the time, ambulance chasers. What we do and what we really pride ourselves on are helping people.
Yeah.
When you have a situation where you're injured in an accident or an incident, you need someone to help you out. There's a lot of things to navigate right after an accident. But there is this stigma around what we do, and I think it's because a lot of people don't really understand it. I always joke and talk about the McDonald's hot coffee.
Oh, that's a good case. I feel like everybody knows that.
Well, and everyone says, "Oh, well, your client got $1 million because she spilled hot coffee on herself," and that story has sort of been one of the things, or a lot of people joke about that. And what a lot of people don't know about that story specifically is McDonald's figured out that if they could brew their coffee twice the temperature that they were brewing it at, they could double the output of their coffee bean and therefore make a lot more money. And what they realized was they were going to be able to make so much more money, but they also realized that if they're serving coffee at that, hot of a temperature, they're going to burn some people. And what they decided was, and why that lady specifically got $1 million wasn't because she spilled coffee on herself. It was because her lawyers found out that McDonald's made the conscious decision that, hey, we're going to burn people, but we're going to make so much more money doing this that we're okay with it. So we'll just pay these people because we're going to make so much more money. Now, of course, we're not doing that every day.
Right.
There's always two sides of the story. And that's just one that a lot of people bring up to me. And I always sort of tell that small little.
But that's it's a good teaching story through the whole thing. I mean, because some people saw it as, oh, well, of course it's hot. Don't, you shouldn't have spilled it. And then, but they actually the flip side of that, it's not your normal heat.
Right.
And McDonald's knew that.
Right.
And
that's handing it out a window into a car. And mistakes happen. And
maybe the lid wasn't put on.
Well, but, from an everyday sort of case standpoint, insurance is required, right? And so a lot of the cases that we have are where, somebody made a mistake and unfortunately someone's injured. And, a lot of people don't understand the stress that you can have in that type of case where you can't go to work. You're really injured.
Yeah.
Bills continue to pile up.
And you've got to wait forever to get anything settled from that.
Right.
So you're using your own money that you already had.
Right. you know? Or don't have.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stress that goes into that. And so medical bills pile up, lost wages pile up, bills continue to come in. And so what we do and really pride ourselves on is just, helping people navigate that type of situation. And again, 99% of these cases are really all going after insurance money. The law in Georgia, like most states, is written where you have to sue the person, quote unquote, sue the person who caused the accident, because you can't just sue the insurance company, right? And so ultimately, there's this stigma of you're suing someone, but we're really just going after insurance money, and we're required to have it, right? Because mistakes do happen. A lot of the cases that we have, there's not a villain and a victim, meaning like there's not a bad person who intends to hurt somebody.
Right.
They look down for a minute, they're busy, they're late to work, they ran a stop sign and hit someone. And, when vehicles collide, people get hurt. And so ultimately, we're not going after the person who caused this accident and trying to take food off their table.
And making them out to be the bad person.
Correct.
Like you're horrible. No, that's not what's happening.
It's not a smear campaign. We're not going to Facebook or, trying to make that person's life any more miserable than it is. But the flip side is that insurance company who is insuring that person from the beginning, right from the jump, is doing everything they can to limit the amount of money they're paying to the person who's hurt. And so that person who's hurt is under a microscope from day one. And so if they don't get treatment, if they feel like, oh, this stigma, I don't want to sue anyone, unfortunately, I see a lot of people that will come to us 6 and 7 months down the road who say, I tried my best. I didn't want to hire a lawyer, but, here I am, and, I didn't get a lot of treatment because I thought I was going to get better. And really, it's just to their detriment. And a lot of people come to my office, a lot of good people come to my office and say, I don't want to be here. And and I know that. Like, no one wants to be in a lawyer's office.
They don't.
Of course. No one wants to be in a doctor's office. Everyone wants to be doing what they want to do with their family or friends. And that's fine. But I see a lot of good people who come from that mindset who take too long to get to the lawyer's office, and ultimately that hurts them. And, ultimately you'd like to think that, the stigma around personal injury isn't preventing people from taking care of themselves, because ultimately the insurance company is a for-profit business. They are wanting to, keep their money. And when you have medical bills that pile up and you have lost wages, there's no, pause button on your bills, right? And so, the thought is that, when you're doing the right thing and you're not chasing ambulances, it's funny people say that because the law doesn't allow us to solicit business. I can't call you and say, hey, I heard you were in an accident.
I didn't know that. I know that like legally you're not supposed to do that.
No. And if people do that, that's bad.
Bad. That's wrong.
Don't do it. But, so I can't call someone. So, that's why I think, again, you see this stigma of the advertising that we do, or that a lot of other law firms that I'm sure people are aware of. And the reason I think that is more than just, trying to make money or chase ambulances is just letting people know that we're here to help, because we can't call them specifically. We can't solicit a case.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just assumed that was,
Now,
that was how you could probably get some business. So it's good to know. And it does make sense that you would advertise, because if people don't know that
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
And the flip side of that is insurance companies can call you. And so if you're in an accident today, the insurance company for the other person can call you, record your conversation, and try to get you to say things that are bad for their case.
What?
Yeah. Where they're allowed to do that. We're not. And we're not allowed to solicit business, but we'll talk to them. But,
You tell people that?
yeah,
See?
of course.
You do care. You care about people.
Well, but in terms of that, if you sign up with a lawyer who does what we do, there's not some hourly rate that you have to pay. So it's contingent upon having your case settled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no skin off your back in order to hire a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You just hire someone, and they work for you. And ultimately, if it's not something that you want to pursue any longer, at least you've on the front end have prepared yourself. If you think that you might be injured or just need help.
Absolutely. And I think that process, like, I didn't go to law school. I don't know these things. And I don't even know, just anything that I'm going to need for that kind of process if anything's happening. So being able to sit down and talk to somebody that knows the law, knows my rights, knows, the process and what I'm supposed to do, I think is very helpful. And I do think people think it's expensive and they're like, well, I probably can't afford a lawyer. But I want people to understand that, get past that, because you can afford it. You can at least sit down and talk and see what the options are.
Sure. And there's a lot that goes into these cases. And this may sound self-serving coming from someone like me, but it's really hard to navigate a case when you're injured by yourself. I mean, not only the time aspect.
Imagine.
Yeah. I mean, the time aspect alone, having to spend your time when you're working or doing family things or whatever it is you're doing, it is a full-time job. And there's just a lot of things that the insurance companies won't tell you. And I started my career thinking that insurance companies were real bad and like they were just liars, but they have a duty to their insured to make sure that they're not paying out, too much money. And so there's just a lot of things that go into the law in these cases that it's really impossible to navigate on your own.
There's no way I could do it. Like, first of all, the law and interpreting the law and knowing where to look for certain things and knowing who to call for certain things and just being able to navigate the process yourself, it is hard and it makes the process 10 times longer. So I can't imagine, I guess the whole thing is I want people to know, just reach out,
Sure.
and find out what you can do. And it's the best way to advocate for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we pride ourselves on that. We really do. I mean, I'm sure we're not the only law firm who believes that, but we really feel like we're helping people because ultimately it's not our client versus the other person. Usually it's our client versus this $1 billion insurance company who will spend a lot of money keeping their money.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately we feel like we're giving a voice to our clients to help them because it can be really stressful. Like we talked about, you're in pain. You're missing work, bills are piling up, you're not getting paid. And I think you said this earlier, it's lump sum payments at the end. The insurance companies won't pay this bill, that bill, so it's all at the end. And so, having our clients or helping our clients navigate sort of that time period. I mean, sometimes it's 3 months, but sometimes it's 3 years. Some people get injured and need a surgery and treat for a long time, sometimes for a lifetime. And so helping navigate those situations is meaningful for us. We really like helping people. And, one of the reasons I wanted to come on the podcast was because, in this community specifically, I'll go out and I'll see people and clients and friends. And, but, there are a lot of misconceptions about lawyers in general. And, I like to think that we're helping people.
Yes.
I really do. I really believe that in my heart of hearts that we're helping people who wouldn't normally be able to do it without us. And that, just like, a doctor would or anyone in the community would, and whatever they do, helping people in a time where they really need help, because it is a stressful time and it is a really hard time.
And, just getting to know you, I can tell you that it's been like, I can tell that you love to help people, and that you really, that's why you got into this. Not everybody, I just think there's a stigma all the way around lawyers and everything, and it's big and bad and scary, and I think it's more the scary part. People just don't know how to navigate it. And I think for me, I feel like you're like 10 times smarter than me because you made it through law school, and like I couldn't even begin to get there. But I think that's the intimidation factor too.
Sure.
But getting to know you, like you are the most like personable person. Like it's so easy to talk to you, and you can tell you love and care about your family and your community and what you're doing. And that's what makes the difference, is the people. So yeah, I'm sure there's these lawyers that make you feel all this way and on all the things, but that's not, I just want people of Camden and around Camden to know that's not what you're getting here.
Right.
And so you coming on the podcast, I want people to see like how, like you're so much fun. And I think it's important, and you truly love what you do.
I do. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I do care.
I mean, I feel like you are, Patrick.
Well, I do care. I've done this for a long time, so I've got some experience doing it, and I do love doing it. But I wouldn't pride myself on anything else other than I really do care. I like helping people, and I want to help people in the community, and that's why in some cases we'll tell them like, hey, it's really not in your best interest for us to represent you. You can go and do X, Y, and Z, and do that on your own. And so, I think in life, that's sort of the way to go about things. If you, putting people first,
absolutely,
you can be successful doing, the law or anything else. But if you're caring about the people, I think that's the important part. And I think that's what we try to do in our small business here.
Yeah, I love it so much. We could sit here and talk about misconceptions probably all day. But I wanted to see if there was any like maybe advice that you had for members of our community, just in general for, this kind of stuff.
Sure. I'm not an insurance agent, but I see insurance contracts all the time. And, one of the things, or a couple of the things that I think some clients really benefit from are, one thing is medical payments on their policy. And so,
is that somewhere in that long contract that they give us?
Yeah. I didn't read mine either. And I know a lot of people don't, but one of the things you can get on your car insurance policy, which in my experience hasn't been all that much more expensive, is medical payments. And it's a provision in your policy that after an accident, your insurance company will pay for some medical bills. And that really helps not only from a financial standpoint, but from a mental standpoint of, those bills not piling up. Yeah. And in my experience, it's not all that more expensive. And you know how it is. I know we're all trying to reduce our monthly expenses.
Yeah.
Right. So, we want to make sure that our insurance, our car insurance, because that's one of we have so many more important things on our monthly list of bills. That's one of the things we try to reduce. But I've seen clients that have a pretty substantial medical payments provision, and that really knocks out all those medical bills from the beginning. They're not getting sent to collections. Yeah. And mentally, it helps. And of course, financially it helps. And so that's one thing that I don't see a lot of my clients have all the time.
I didn't even know it was a thing until just now. So I didn't even know that was something that you can look for or get added to your policy.
And it helps. And, insurance is one of those things that you hope to never use, right? Yeah. And you don't need it until you need it. But that, I think, from a monthly cost standpoint, goes a long way, because if you need it, it really helps. That's one thing that's important. On that, sort of same topic, when you purchase insurance in Georgia, the minimum coverage that you have to have when you ride on the road is $25,000. Okay. So that's liability coverage you've got to have. The insurance company is required to also offer you what's called underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage. It's UM coverage.
UM.
Okay. And so that coverage can match your liability limits. And that is coverage that you can have that will be in addition to the person who causes the accident. Let's say they have 25, you need a surgery, or your medical bills exceed 25,000. Your insurance policy will kick in and help. And that's something that also, if you have that coverage sort of added on to your to the liability limits, can go a long way in paying for those bills, compensating you for lost wages and those sorts of things. And again, in my experience, it's not all that more expensive each month. And so it's just extra protection for you if you're involved in an accident. It's something that, monthly, it costs, but if you need it, you need it. And I think I've seen a lot of clients, unfortunately, not know about it.
I didn't.
They look at their insurance policy. It's like, well, give me, I want full coverage, but I want it to be as low as possible.
Yeah.
The UM coverage, and specifically, you can request it for it to be added on. And what that means is if the person who hits you has $25,000 in coverage, you can request that your insurance coverage be added on to that. And so if you have 25, then now you have a total of 50.
Wow.
And the add-on versus, they call it reduced by insurance limits, it's really not that much more expensive to have it added on. But if it's reduced by, if you have 25,000 reduced and the person who hits you has 25,000 total, then your coverage is only 25. But if you've got it added on, it's now 50.
Yeah.
And that can go a long way if, your medical bills exceed 25. But those are two things that I think personally that you can do.
That is very valuable information.
Well, from a proactive standpoint. Now, after an accident, not talking about like coverage, I think it's important that you document everything. You take pictures, go to the doctor as soon as possible, and, sort of make sure that you're documenting what you're going through. Sort of keep, I don't want to say a diary, but keep a list of things that are happening. And then really, again, at the risk of this sounding self-serving, find a lawyer that can, talk you through that process. Because it's better to be on the front end of it prepared and then let it go than 6 months down the road say, you know what, I really should have called somebody. And now you're trying to piecemeal this information. Because ultimately, when you're involved in an accident, you're not entitled to insurance coverage. You're not entitled to get compensated for your medical bills or lost wages. You ultimately really are only entitled to a jury trial one day. And what I mean by that is, somebody causes an accident. The law doesn't say that the insurance company must pay you X, Y, and Z. What the law says is that you're allowed to one day go to the courthouse, in our case here in Woodbine, and say to a jury, hey, this is what happened to me. And those 12 random people get to decide, well, this is what that's worth. In the meantime, in the interim between your accident and that jury trial, a lot of your cases settle, but that's because the insurance company realizes that this person's going to be able to present their case in court. And that's where a lawyer will really be helpful in that, we're preparing from day one for that jury trial.
Yeah.
Now, we settle a lot of our cases because insurance companies are risk-reward businesses. They don't want to take every case to trial. But if you're not prepared from the beginning, it's really hard to prove your case. Like, for example, I'll have people that, get in an accident and have back pain, but they don't go to the doctor for 3 months. And so what happens is, if we're to have to prepare and present that case at trial, we're going to have to really explain what happened in those 3 months. And so good people will say, well, I don't want to go to the doctor, I'll get better. But if they don't go to the doctor and say, hey, I'm having back pain, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do to 12 people who, again, come in with this stigma of ambulance chasers. You just want money. You're doing all this just to get some money. And you got to explain for why you didn't go to the doctor for 3 months. And a lot of people will think, well, if you didn't go to the doctor, you weren't really in pain.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people will suffer sort of silently and try to get through it because they don't want to go to.
I was about to say, people don't want to go to the doctor.
They don't. They don't want to go to lawyers.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean,
I get it.
You don't want to get diagnosed. But ultimately, if and I get it, and I'm probably the same way in a lot of ways. But if you don't go to the doctor, you don't take pictures, you don't document things, it really can put you behind the 8 ball, and it makes it hard later on. One other thing on that, talking about the insurance policy that we all don't read.
Yeah, that we all don't read.
The insurance policy that most people have will require you to notify your insurance company within a certain period of time. And each contract is different. Some have, time periods specific, like 60 days, 90 days. A lot of them, and what we see, they're written as prompt. You have to provide your insurance company prompt notice, which is one of those vague. I
was about to say, so what is prompt?
Yeah, you tell me. But it's one of those things that you're required to tell your insurance company. And so I'll have people that come to our office 6 and 9 months, sometimes a year later after an accident, and they haven't put their insurance company on notice, either because they don't want to be the ambulance chaser, they don't want to have that stigma, or, sometimes people will say, well, I didn't want my insurance rates to go up.
Ooh,
yeah. And what a lot of people don't know about the car insurance part of it and your own car insurance, the insurance company can't raise your rates for putting them on notice for a claim where you were not at fault. So I'll have a lot of people that come into my office and say, well, why does my insurance have to be involved? Well, number one, your insurance contract requires you to tell them about it. But number two, you've already paid for that coverage. And so there's actually a law that says in Georgia that, they're not supposed to raise your rates if you're making a not at fault claim. And so that's something that's important for people to know, because a lot of people don't want their rates to be, raised. But, primarily.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. I mean, primarily I just would, want people to, on the front end, err on the side of preparing, like you have to have that trial one day and then let it go if you're fine. Because the hope is, and I tell all my clients this when they come in, the hope is that you have a terrible personal injury case.
Yeah.
Because that means you're not hurt.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't need a lawyer. But if you do, unfortunately, have one, you're prepared from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick, this has been a lot of very useful information. A lot I didn't know today.
Wow.
Wow. Was there anything else you wanted to cover before we get into rapid fire questions? Because I got some questions for you.
Well, no, not specifically. I could talk for a long time about what.
Well, you're passionate about what you do,
Yeah.
and the people that you get to work with, and I just think that's the advice you've given to all of us today, maybe potential clients,
Sure.
at this point. But it's very good information, and a lot of stuff I didn't know. I will be talking to State Farm today about some stuff after this podcast. But yeah, let's go to rapid fire questions. I want to know a little bit more about you.
Sure.
So what's your favorite restaurant in Camden County?
Locally, Steffens.
Heck
sure.
yes, Steffens, yes.
Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
I love Texas Roadhouse.
Me too.
Those rolls are awesome.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. I could just bathe in that honey cinnamon butter. It's so good.
Yep. Awesome.
Are you a morning or a night owl?
Morning.
Morning. All right.
3 kids.
Oh, yeah. So they dictate your schedule.
Yep.
If you weren't a lawyer, what would you be?
A coach. Football or baseball. I have 3 kids, and they all play sports. And so, on all my free time, I'm coaching football or baseball.
Do you love sports like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I played sports my whole life. I played baseball in college, and then, and after college, but I love sports, and I love, coaching, and I love coaching my kids. And, I spend a lot of my free time, almost all my free time, coaching. I love coaching.
So what are you doing with coaching? That's my thing. So my husband's a football coach. So I love all that. Tell me more. What else do you do?
So coach a competitive flag football team.
Stop it.
Yep. I coach a competitive baseball team. And so do a lot of coaching, a lot of sports. It's sort of my passion and hobby. I love sports.
Okay. Well, I have a question. Like, do you, sports, the world of sports is changing so very much.
Yeah.
With these kids getting NIL deals at, 16 and 17 years old. And I'm like, what is happening? You're giving them what kind of money?
Yeah, right.
But and I don't know that we've seen a whole lot here locally as far as like, millions of dollars or anything like that.
Sure.
But, there have been some. And do you, as a lawyer, I don't know if this kind of gets in, I know it's not personal injury, but with the NIL deals, like, and these kids getting that, do you have any advice there, or do you do anything with that?
Yeah, actually, so I've got some family friends who coach high school football.
Okay.
And I've been introduced to some of the athletes and their parents, and they've asked, well, hey, can you help us? And so a couple of years back, I actually got certified to be an NFL agent.
Wait, what?
Yeah, which is fun. I don't advertise that, but I like to do that, and I have represented a couple people. But what I do primarily in that is I like to help kids navigate that NIL world.
Somebody needs to, because it's difficult, and these kids aren't getting the Sorry, I'll get off on that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's like right now it's like the Wild West, and you know, when in NFL agency, there's certain percentages and they're capped, and it's really like, you know, formal, and it's, you know, there's rules to it.
Yeah.
And the NIL and what we're seeing in a large scale, you know, with these kids going to different colleges and earning $4 and $5 million for playing there, all the way down to, you know, high school kids who, you know, the local, you know, grocery store, the local, you know, car dealership want to, you know, and so there's a lot of questions that a lot of kids have. I think ultimately there's going to be some federal legislation on it.
Yeah.
I mean, like some laws governing it. But right now there's a lot of question marks, and a lot of the kids get locked into, you know, these deals with people because they're offering them money.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, if they ever made it big, they're going to owe them, you know. And so I like to just, you know, I don't really charge for that because it's more of a hobby. You know, but we, you know, I'll meet with kids and talk with them about, you know, really more their career. I love that. And I love talking about, like, you know, offers they're going to be getting.
Yeah,
you know,
that is so cool, Patrick.
Yeah, but that's fun, but you know, the NIL stuff is interesting because it's such a hot topic right now, and a lot of the kids, they don't know.
They don't know, and they don't know what to do with they're adults at this point with adult money and adult responsibilities at that point. And, you know, I don't know that anybody's trained them on these things or educated them. You know, I don't blame the kids. I blame the adults in the picture that thought this was going to be great.
Right.
And I do think there should be some compensation, but there definitely needs to be some rules on it.
For sure.
And some guidelines and some capping of things.
Well, and how the lawyers who help them get paid.
Yeah.
Because there's no real rules, at least right now, that say, well, this is how much the lawyer should get paid, or this is how much someone can pay this kid. And so that's fun for me. And so, yeah, if I could do anything, it would be coaching. And
we could have a whole nother podcast on NIL. So just keep that. I may be calling you back and saying, Patrick, come back. We got some more to talk about. But I think that's really cool that, like, if you weren't a lawyer, you'd be a coach.
I love sports.
Oh, I love this so much.
I love sports.
Oh, man. So one last question on the rapid fire. So what is your favorite, like, legal movie or TV show?
I probably would say My Cousin Vinny.
That is not what I thought you were going to say. Okay.
That's a really
all right. Yeah.
There's some great quotes in that movie. I can't probably say it.
Yeah, we're not going to say one here. Yeah.
But that is a great movie, and it's funny because he's a very inexperienced lawyer during that movie. But you know, it's a lot of common sense for him, and he's advocating for his client. And you could tell in that there's a lot of, like, messages, I think, from a lawyer standpoint, where you can kind of learn. I mean, it's of course a comedy, but like, he really cares, and you can tell he cares, and he wants to win. And so I find that funny in a lot of ways, but cool because you know, he wasn't this really experienced lawyer who knew a lot, who was really smart. But he really cared about his client and he wanted to win. And
calling people out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But
really good.
Probably saying things that other people have wanted to say, you know?
But,
but it's really, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Patrick, you have been so much fun today. I have enjoyed just getting to talk. Was there anything else you wanted to say? I do want you to tell people the phone number and where you guys are located in case they don't know.
Sure. We're here in Camden. We're at actually next to the new Publix that's being built.
I was about to say, like, once that started being built, I was like, oh, well, you can see it clearly now. You can always see it from the road, but, like, now you can see your building.
Yeah,
like,
it
was clear.
It was woods only about a year ago, and then they knocked it down. I'm like, wow, my building's a lot smaller than I thought it was.
Yeah, has it gotten, like, lighter in there at all? Like, I feel like
and louder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And louder. Yeah, with all the construction. But we're right next to Publix. It's 1511 Highway 40 East, and you can reach us. We find our number on the website, but we have a 904 number, 904-396-5181, and then there's 912-342-2444. So
look at you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to do that. I might have gotten one phone number, but not two.
Yeah. And you know, with all our advertising, there's different 912 numbers. So if you find a different number, that's fine. It's just
just call that one too. It's
how
fine.
they route it.
Yeah.
But if you call us, I'll give you my cell phone number.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll let you call my cell phone.
I love this. Patrick, you've been so much fun. Thank you. I hope you will come back in someday and talk to me soon. Maybe about this NIL, maybe something else we'll learn.
Be more fun.
Yeah. Well, this one was fun too. But thank you so much for your time today. Your team, it was amazing getting all this set up. So I just appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you've been so much fun today, and I've learned so much.
Well, I hope, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, you too.
Yep.
All right, guys, you have caught episode 81 of the Get in Your Business podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe, and give Patrick a call at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.